So what really is strategic thinking? Well, if you put it into a sentence to describe it, strategic thinking is a process that goes on inside the head of the CEO and the senior management team when they attempt to articulate a vision and translate it into a profile of what they want the business to become. The key word here is and. CEO and the key management team. You know, all organizations that I worked with, and all organizations, they have lots of people, and these people have a lot of experience. They got a lot of knowledge about that business and about the industry. Why would you want to think about developing a strategy without tapping into the heads of all those people? So you can go off in a room, the CEO and maybe 2 or 3 of his direct reports, and spend time kind of thinking in a vacuum on the back of a cocktail napkin what the strategy should be. Or you can engage your people, and while you're engaging your people, you are also teaching them to be better managers and to be better strategic thinkers. Now, whenever you think about the subject of strategy, the first word that comes into mind is strategic planning. That's what everybody calls it. But we think there's a difference. Strategic planning really extrapolates projections of current products and markets into the future. This is the Excel spreadsheet view of strategy. You know, let's kind of look at the Excel spreadsheet. Let's look at the budget, and let's kind of move some growth numbers around, and then we're good to go. That's about as far as it goes. Where strategic thinking really creates a framework, and I'm going to show you this framework here this morning, creates a framework for the scope of the products and the markets that you're going to enter. And once you have that framework and you make decisions against that framework, that will start to change or continue to put the company in the direction that you've chosen it to be in. Strategic planning is many times bottom-up, kind of like I mentioned, like the budgeting process. But strategic thinking, it's top-down. It's involving the top people in the company who have the right and the obligation to do the right thing as it relates to the strategy of the business. It involves them in that decision. Strategic planning is generally optimistic. We've all sat in these presentations where people are making the PowerPoint presentations with the motion and the music and about how they're going to launch this new product and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. When you look at those presentations, it's many times hard to sort out which ones are better than others. Where strategic thinking, what we do is we have a discussion and a debate so you can make some determinations as to where you should place more emphasis and where you should place less emphasis. Certainly today, maybe not several years ago, but certainly today, companies' resources are more scarce. And they have to be very opportunistic. They have to be very careful about how they invest those resources. They can't go everywhere. So they have to make some decisions about where they want to place more or less emphasis. Strategic thinking is inflexible and difficult to change. For those of you who have been through the budgeting process, you know that working on the budgeting process in a company is very much akin to getting a root canal. Very, very difficult, painful. People don't like to do it. Well, the last thing you want to do is after you've done the budget is to go in and change it. So once you do the budget, we don't want to change it. We think in strategic thinking, you have to be responsive to the changes in the marketplace. I've had companies tell me, they say, look, we really think you got a great process. What we're going to do is we're going to work on the budget, and then we're going to bring you in here, we're going to work on our strategy. And I'm saying, no. Time out. You got to do the strategy first, because the strategy may cause you to be motivated to spend some money in some different areas. You've heard of the phrase, taking money from areas of lower yield and lower productivity to areas of higher yield and higher productivity. Well, if you identify some of those opportunities when you're thinking about strategy, you don't want to be tied to a budget and said, well, we got the budget done. We'll do that next year. Well, now a whole year goes by and you haven't made those changes. Strategic planning uses mostly internal data, studies, and things of that nature. Strategic thinking uses both internal and external data. When you work on strategy, you may need to buy some studies. You may need to invest some money in either primary research, where people actually go out and meet with people and make the phone calls and those kinds of things, or secondary research, where they basically just do the research that they can get on the internet or things of those kinds of. They would acquire knowledge that way. So in strategic thinking, you really have to do both. Now, we love bumper stickers. It's good to bring them down to one thing. If you call strategic planning, you want to put a bumper sticker on that, you'd probably call it quantitative analysis versus strategic thinking, which is qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis is taking disparate pieces of information and synthesizing them together to come up with some kind of a agreed upon whole. So I think there's a pretty important difference between strategic planning and strategic thinking. This is obviously more of a linear approach. This is a little bit more of a right brain thinking.